All right, today we're going to do something a little different. We are going to decode a single, kind of cryptic sentence. It looks like a puzzle, but trust me, it connects Malay linguistics, some simple math, and a really profound philosophical idea about the nature of unity itself. So let's break it down. So this is it. This single line is our entire source text for today. At first glance, it really does look more like a line of code than some deep philosophical statement, right? But every single word here is a clue, and when you put them all together, they unlock a really beautiful concept. So the big question is, what on earth could this possibly mean? To decode it, to really uncover the amazing idea it's trying to communicate, we need to find the first key, just like in any good puzzle. And that starting point, our key, is all about the language. We have to unlock two really fundamental Malay terms. Okay, so the text kicks things off by drawing this really important line between angka and nombor. Think of angka as the individual digits, 0 through 9, the basic building blocks. Nombor is the bigger number we construct from them, something like 135 or 4892. Put it this way, angka is the brick, nombor is the house, the part and the whole. You've got to get this distinction because literally everything that follows builds on it. All right, so now that we've got the language down, we can move on to the mathematical engine of this whole idea. This is the process that's going to transform the whole, the nombor, back into its most basic part, the angka. This process, it's called finding the digital root. And honestly, it's super simple. Let's just walk through it together. Say you start with a nombor like 587, okay? First step, you just sum up its individual angka. So 5 plus 8 plus 7, that gets you 20. Now, since 20 isn't a single digit, you just do it again. 2 plus 0 equals 2. And boom, that's it. We've just taken this complex whole and boiled it right back down to one single fundamental unit. And this single digit, this final angka, that's the essence we were looking for. And what's so wild about this is that no matter how ridiculously huge or complicated the starting number is, this process always, and I mean always, brings it down to a single digit from 1 to 9. That absolute predictability, that's the magic here. Okay, so we've got the language and we've got the math. But you're probably wondering, how does a simple arithmetic trick suddenly become this grand statement about truth and beauty? Well, this is where the source starts building this really fascinating philosophical bridge. First up, the text calls this whole thing operasye munasabah, which basically translates to a reasonable operation. It's not random, it's not chaotic, it's logical, it's consistent. It's a totally predictable system for taking complexity and making it simple. It just makes sense, And this reasonable, predictable process leads to what the source calls cohesive harmony. The thinking here is that when you take a number that seems kind of messy and random and you reduce it to its core root, you're not just getting a smaller number. You're revealing a state of beautiful, elegant order, a kind of profound interconnectedness. And it doesn't stop there. This harmony, this perfect order that you get from a totally reasonable process is then equated with even bigger ideas, perfect truth and, get this, beauty. The message is pretty clear, right? True beauty isn't in all the complexity on the surface. It's found in the undeniable, simple truth of its harmonious root. So we've managed to connect math to harmony and harmony to truth. But there is one last word in our source text, and honestly, it's the most important one. It's the one that takes this whole system from just being a neat idea and elevates it into a really profound spiritual metaphor. And that final powerful word is tawheed. Now, in Islamic theology, tawheed is, well, it's everything. It's the central, foundational concept of the indivisible oneness of God. It is the ultimate principle of unity. This idea that all of creation and all its incredible diversity and complexity ultimately comes from and reflects a single unified source. And this is where it all clicks together. That mathematical process of finding a digital root, it becomes the perfect metaphor for tawheed. Think about it. Just like any complex number will always return to a single angka, the concept of tawheed suggests that all of existence, no matter how complex it seems, returns to a single unified source. So let's bring that original puzzle back up. It probably doesn't look so cryptic anymore, does it? In fact, it's not a puzzle at all. It's a formula. It starts by defining the terms, then it describes the math, then it assigns it a philosophical value, and finally it connects the whole thing to the ultimate spiritual principle of oneness. It's a perfect logical flow. All right, so let's just recap the whole decoded concept real quick. We start with the Malay distinction between the part, angka, and the whole, number. That sets the stage. Then, the digital root gives us the mathematical tool to reduce that whole back down to its essential part. This reduction isn't just math, it reveals a state of harmony and truth. And that whole process serves as this beautiful metaphor for Tawhid, the ultimate idea that all complexity finally resolves into a fundamental, simple unity. And that really leaves us with a final thought to chew on. What we've seen here is how a simple, elegant pattern in numbers can mirror a really deep spiritual truth. So it kind of makes you wonder, right? What other simple patterns, maybe in math, maybe in nature, in biology, or even out in the stars, are just hiding there in plain sight, waiting for us to see them as metaphors for some of the biggest ideas of all?